Students, in lesson 5.2, we are going to be working on dividing decimals by whole numbers. Today we're going to be doing an investigation, so we're going to need color pencils and our decimal models, and we can actually use our quick pictures or our base 10 blocks for that. Either of those would be suitable for this activity. So we're going to start with Angela. It says Angela has enough of wood to make a picture frame with a perimeter of 2 4/10 meters. She wants to frame to be a square. What will the length of each side of the frame be? So boys and girls, we need to keep two things in mind here. When we say she wants it to be a square, we know that a square has 4 equal sides. So I'm going to write down on the side that a square has 4 equal sides. So that means when we hear about sharing something equally, boys and girls, we have to think division. Secondly, the perimeter, it's actually just talking about the outside of a frame. So if this was a picture frame, and I know that that's not the best picture, but you get the idea, the perimeter is only this area around the outside. So a little song that I like to sing that helps me out with perimeter, remember it, is perimeter and perimeter, round and round, add up all the sides and write your answer down. So all the sides of that would be the perimeter when you add them together. So boys and girls, it says, what will the length of each side of the frame be? It says we're going to shade the decimal models to show 2 4/10. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to draw this decimal model, which is 2 flats, and then we're going to draw 4/10 to represent our number, which is 2 4/10. Step B says you will need to share your model among equal groups. Now if we go back into the original problem, we know that the perimeter of each frame needs to be 2 4/10 meters. However, we know that a square is a 4-sided shape, so we know that we're going to have to divide up our total amount of wood by 4 because each side of the frame needs to be covered. Otherwise, our picture would fall through. So we would say that it's going to be shared between 4 equal groups. We're on step C. Since 2 wholes cannot be shared among 4 groups without regrouping, what we're going to do is we're going to cut our model apart to show tenths. So we're going to do this in class, but I want to make sure that we can do this together now. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut apart this tenth, this flat, which is a whole, and we're going to replace it with 10 tenths, which I'm going to do in a different color so that you know that they're not the original. 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10, 10/10. And again, if we need to share it between 4 equal groups, we're going to have to trade that one again. I'm going to change it to a different color. 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10, 10/10. So boys and girls, we have 10 tenths, another 10 tenths, we have 20 tenths, 24 tenths in total. So boys and girls, we see that we count up all of our purple tenths, all of our orange tenths, and all of our green tenths, and we get 24 tenths. So now it says, boys and girls, we're going to share the tenths equally among the 4 groups. So what you can start to do is just place them down. 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10. And this is actually the activity that we're going to be completing in class. So we're going to do that, boys and girls, until we run out of tenths to share. Remember, when we complete a whole round, there has to be 1 in each of these circles because these are representing the 4 equal groups. And actually, on the side, what I'm going to write down is that that represents the 4 circles is our 4 equal groups. So it says that there are, boys and girls, 0 ones. And we know that because when we traded, we just traded for tenths. If you check and see how many tenths are in each group, we would see that there are actually, in fact, indeed, 6 tenths in each group. And I'm actually going to draw this out and show you on the next page so you can actually see what it looks like. So boys and girls, we have our 4 groups. And keep in mind we have 24 tenths, which I'm going to write in different colors. So we have 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths, 5 tenths, 6 tenths, 7 tenths, 8 tenths, 9 tenths, 10 tenths. Our second group, 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths, 5 tenths, 6 tenths, 7 tenths, 8 tenths, 9 tenths, 10 tenths. And then our original 4 tenths, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what we're going to do is we're going to share these equally, and as we share them, we're going to cross them off just to make sure that we're keeping them in mind. So we have 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths. And now we're going to start with the top group again. 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths. Oh, sorry, boys and girls. That is not correct. That 3 should have been down here. 2 tenths, 2 tenths. And now we're done with another group. 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths. Another round. 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths. Another group. 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths. And our last group, 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths. Now, boys and girls, if we go to each group, they should have the same amount of tenths. 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths, 5 tenths, 6 tenths. I'm going to write down 6 tenths. Again, let's check our next pile. 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths, 5 tenths, 6 tenths. Again, 6 tenths. Because remember, boys and girls, when we say we're going to equally share, we're going to divide. Again, boys and girls, 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths, 5 tenths, 6 tenths. Again, 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths, 5 tenths, 6 tenths. And boys and girls, if you look at our 24 tenths, which we started off with, our 24 tenths have been shared equally among our 4 groups. So in fact, boys and girls, when we go back to our original problem here, we see that there were 6 tenths in each group. So now it says write the decimal for the amount in each group. What we do is we write it in decimal form, which is 6/10. And then finally, boys and girls, on D, it says use your model to complete the number sense. 2 and 4 tenths, which is the perimeter. We should write that down so we can keep in mind. Remember, perimeter of an object is perimeter, perimeter, round and round, add up all the sides and write your answer down. And we divide by 4 because we know that a square is a 4-sided shape. Our final answer would be 6 tenths. And says, so the length of each side of the frame will be 6 tenths meters. Now, boys and girls, we're going to go on to the draw conclusions, which we'll complete in class together. So you can pause at this time and be ready to proceed on to the next part of the activity. So make connections is really when we're sinking our teeth into the problem and making sure that we have a strong understanding of what the problems are asking for us. Because remember, our essential question at the beginning of this lesson was, can I, or how can you use the model to divide a decimal into by a whole number? So now we are on make connections. Boys and girls, it says you can also use base 10 blocks to model division of a decimal. So in the first part we did a decimal model where we actually caught up physically that model and use that to help us with the problem. So for this one we're going to use our base 10 pieces. So you can push and slide those other objects to the side, and we're going to use our base 10 pieces for our part of our materials. So it says Kyle has a roll of ribbon that is 3 and 21/100 yards long. He cuts the ribbon into 3 equal segments. Boys and girls, as math detectives, when we see that word equal, it's prompting us to think that we are going to have to divide. Now it's asking us, boys and girls, how long is each piece of ribbon? I'm going to underline this because this is what the problem is trying to get me to find. So when we go to step 1, boys and girls, it says use the base 10 to show 3 and 21/100ths. And keep in mind, boys and girls, 3 and 21/100ths is our dividend because this is what we are going to divide up. It says to remember that a flat represents 1. So I'm going to underline that. And I'm going to draw it as well. I'm going to put down in parentheses that a flat is equal to 1. A long is that one long stick, and that's equal to a tenth. And that a circle, boys and girls, or in the case of our base 10 pieces, is a square. I'm going to put down a square is equal to a 100th. So those are just something good to keep in the back of your mind, because as you see, like the repetition of base 10 pieces are very important. So boys and girls, there are how many ones? Let's count them out. That's correct. There are 3 ones. Let's count out how many tenths there are. There are 2 tenths. And let's count out how many hundredths there are. 1/100th. So step 2, it says we're going to share the ones first. So we're going to look at these guys and we're going to share them first. There is one shared equally in each group. And we know that because, boys and girls, we're going to have 3 groups. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a circle, 3 circles, because these are going to be my 3 groups that I'm going to share equally. So in each of the groups, I'm going to write a flat. So that's 1, 2, 3. We were able to share them equally, boys and girls, so we did not have to regroup for this particular part of the problem. Boys and girls, it says shared in each group, and blank ones are left over. We see there are no ones left over, so we simply write down that there are 0 ones left over. Now we're going to go on to step 3. Step 3, it says share the tens. So boys and girls, we see that there are 2 tens, and I'm going to rewrite out those circles. So these are our 3 circles where we shared equally. And remember, we already have in each of them 1, 1, and now we're going to have to share the tens. There's a problem. We have 3 groups, boys and girls, but we only have 2 tenths to share. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to regroup. 2 tenths cannot be shared among 3 groups without regrouping. So what we're going to do is we're going to regroup the tens by replacing them with hundreds. So we're going to take that dime, trade it for 10 pennies. Take that dime, trade it for 10 pennies. Or think about it. Take that flat, trade it for 4 10 cubes or 10 hundreds. Change that flat, change it for another 10 cubes. So we should have traded for 20 hundredths. So boys and girls, there are wrong spot. There are 0 tenths shared in each group. Because we have 3 groups, we can't share the tenths and we have to regroup. So how many tenths do we have left over, boys and girls? We have 0 tenths left over because we traded them. So remember, we traded our tenths for hundredths. Next, boys and girls, there are now 21 hundredths. Don't forget that we actually did have 1 original hundredth in the problem. Step 4, it says share the hundredths. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 100 in each of the boxes. So we're actually going to put an actual individual hundredth in each box. So boys and girls, as you see, we shared the 21 hundredths equally among the 3 groups. There are 7 hundredths in each shared group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And there are 0 hundredths left over. So boys and girls, each ribbon would be 1 and 7 hundredths yards long.